Hello everyone, welcome back to Shukra. In this video, I'll explain the programming in C subject which is there in VTU in first semester. The important question solved video from module 1. You can score easily, not only for passing, you can easily score by this video. If you understand and watch till end, you can easily score easily. Clear? These are all the important questions from unit module 1, which is completely the basics of computer language and structure of C and everything. Completely the basics of C programming, which is very simple and easy. You can easily understand. Let us start with the first question. What is computer language? Explain the role of programming languages in problem solving. If you are from CS background, then you can easily understand this. If you are from biology background, then it will be difficult for you. Little bit difficult in starting only. Later on, you can easily understand. A computer language is a set of rules, symbols and instructions used to communicate with a computer. For example, to communicate with other person, I need a language, right? That might be Kannada, English, Telugu, Hindi, anything. I need a language to communicate. Likewise, I cannot communicate with the computers in Kannada, English, Telugu because it doesn't understand. That's why the computer language is a set of rules. It has set of rules, symbols and instructions used to communicate with the computer. We have set of rules, symbols and instructions which are used to communicate with the computer. And it helps humans tell the computer what task to perform in a way that the computer can understand and execute. Which means we can tell the computer that which task and how to perform the task the way computer can understand and execute that problem. Clear? Along with that, the computer languages, for example, C, C++, Java, Python, these languages convert the human ideas and logics into machine readable instructions, which means the machine can understand easily. Clear? For example, the computer languages are C, C++, Java, Python. If I want to communicate with you people, I have English, Telugu, Kannada and all. To communicate with the computer, I have C, C++, Java, Python and all. Clear? These are all the languages to communicate with the computer that can understand easily. Computers cannot understand human languages directly. I have told you, right? It cannot understand the human languages directly. They can only understand machine languages, that is zeros and ones, which is there in the binary language. Zeros and ones. So computer languages acts as a bridge between humans and computers. The computer language acts as a bridge between we humans and the computers. Clear? Which makes the communication easy and faster. Clear? The role of programming languages in problem solving. What is the role, the main role of programming language in problem solving? Let us understand. Programming language play a very important role in solving the problems using computers. Here the programming languages plays very major and important role to solve the problems using computers. Clear? Let us understand one by one. Understanding the problem. This is the major thing that we have to do. Programming languages help break a real world problem into smaller logic steps. It will break down the problem into smaller logic steps. After that, this makes the problem easy to analyze and solve the problem. We have to analyze and understand the problem. And the second one is designing the solution. Using programming concepts like variables, conditions and loops, a clear solution, the algorithm is designed based on the problem. The programming concept, variables, conditions and loop, based on this, the clear solution is designed. That is called algorithm. Clear? The third step is converting logic into code. The programming language allows us to convert the designed logic into executable programs, which means it will convert the logic, whatever I want, to code, which is executable program. Clear? It will convert the logic form to the code form. Easy to execute that program. Automation of task. Once the program is written, the computer can perform the tasks automatically, quickly and accurately. Once the code is ready, automatically it will execute that task. It will perform the task automatically, quickly and accurately. Error detection and correction, which means after the execution, programming languages provides the tools to identify the errors and improve the solution. After execution, if there is any errors, it will identify the errors and improve the solution as well. Clear? Reusability and efficiency. Programs can be reused. If I have written a program, I can reuse that. Any part of the code can be reused easily, modify that and improve for similar problems. If I have any other similar problem also, I can reuse the same code. I can modify and use also. Saving the time and efforts. By doing this reusability and efficiency, I can easily save the time and efforts as well. Clear? And next one is communication with the hardware. The programming languages help to control hardware devices like printer, sensor and memory. Which means the programming language helps to control the hardware devices, printer, sensor and memory as well. It plays the major role in communication with hardware devices as well. Clear? Let us see the conclusion. Programming languages are essential tools for problem solving, which means they play a major role for problem solving, and they also help the human to think logically, design solutions and instruct the computers to perform the task efficiently and accurately. This is all about the computer language, a programming language. Clear? These are all the programming languages we use in our daily life to communicate with the computer. Clear? And the next one is explain the steps involved in the creating and running C program. How to create the C program, how to run the C program. Like creating and running a C program involves these following steps. The first one is problem definition. The problem to be solved is clearly understood. We have to understand the problem first clearly. It requires the input, processing and output are identified. The required input, processing and outputs are identified before. Clear? The algorithm design is step-by-step logical solution. I have told right here, the algorithm means the clear solution which is designed based on the variables, conditions and loops. Clear? That is the algorithm. Algorithm means step-by-step logical solution that is prepared to solve the problem. Clear? Based on the algorithm only, they will write the code. Write the C program, which means coding. The algorithm is converted into C program using C language syntax. Based on the C language syntax only, how to convert the algorithm into coding. Clear? After that, the program is written using a text editor or an IDE. I will explain you later because this is completely about basics. Pre-processing, which means the preprocessor processes the statement starting with hash, like include hash defined like this. It will start with the hashtag. Clear? Header files are included and macros are expanded. Here in this, the header files are included and macros are expanded. Compilation. The compiler checks the program for syntax errors, which means it will check if there are any syntax errors occur. And the errors are, if the errors are found, then they are corrected and the program is recompiled again. It will correct those errors and recompile again. After successful compilation, object code is generated. I will explain you in detail in compilation part. Linking, which means the linker links the object code with the required library functions. After that, an executable file is created. Loading means the executable program is loaded into the computer's memory for execution, which means the executable program code. It will load into the computer's memory. For which purpose? To execute. Clear? Execution, running the program. Execution means running the program. The program is executed, input is given, processing is done, and based on the input given, it will generate the output. Clear? Testing and debugging. The output is checked for the corrections and the logic errors are found. If the logic errors are found, the program is corrected and tested again. If there is any errors, it will check those errors and it will correct those. After that, it will test and debug. Clear? Here the conclusion is these are all the steps to ensure that the C program is written correctly, executed efficiently and that produces the desired output based on the given input. Clear? These are all the steps. And the next question is the system development process with respect to C programming. Here the system development process is a step-by-step method used to develop a program or software system using C language, which means it is a step-by-step method. We are using this because to develop a program or a software which is written in C language. It helps in building correct, efficient and reliable programs. Clear? Let us understand this included in the system development process. The first one is problem identification and analysis. This is the first most thing that we have to do. Problem identification and analysis. The problem to be solved is clearly identified. Input, output, constraints and requirements are analyzed before. Feasibility study, which means it is checked whether the problem can be solved using available resources like time, cost, hardware and software, or it will take more time, even more hardware requirements and software requirements. We have to check that. That is feasibility study. And system design. The overall structure of the system is designed here and algorithms, flowcharts, the data structure, everything should be prepared in the system design step. The program logic is planned before coding. That is also done here. Coding in C. The system design is converted into C program. Here whatever the algorithm we got, based on that how to write the code. C language syntax, data types, functions and control structures are used in coding in C. Compilation and execution. The C program is compiled to detect the syntax errors. I have explained already. Compilation is to detect the syntax errors. After successful compilation, the program is executed to get the output. That is what execution. We will run the code. The successful compilation, the program is executed to get the output based on the given input. Testing and debugging. The program is tested with the different inputs, whether it is working properly or not. Errors are identified and corrected to ensure the correct output. If there are any errors will occur, how to correct it, identify it and correct it to ensure the correct output. Documentation, which is also an important step. Details about the program logic, usage and the instructions are written in the documentation and it helps the users and future developers to understand the program clearly. Clear? And the next one is maintenance. After implementation, the changes or improvements are made if required. After the implementation of the code, if there any change is required or improvement is required, that are made only if it is required. Errors found later are fixed. If any errors found in later, that are also fixed and the program is updated here in the maintenance. The conclusion is the system development process ensures that the C program are developed in an organized and systematic way, resulting in reliable and efficient software. Clear? These are all the steps involved in the system development process which is written in C programming. Clear? And the next question is give a brief history of C language and explain why C is called middle level language. How to explain the history of C language and why it is called as middle level language. Let us understand the C programming. It was developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972. It is developed by Dennis Ritchie. It is very important. You can expect this question in your first module, which is very simple as well. It is developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972 that you have to mention at Bell Laboratories, which is there in USA. Clear? It was created to develop Unix operating system. C languages is created to develop the Unix operating system. Clear? And C evolved from the earlier languages such as BCPL and B. It was developed from BCPL and B languages. Clear? And initially C was used mainly for system programming. It was used only for system programming initially, and later on it became popular for application development because of its efficiency and flexibility. These are all the main two features of the C programming. Because of the efficiency and flexibility, it is used for application development as well later on. These are all the advantages also that I can say. Clear? In 1978, the book C Programming Language by Dennis Ritchie and Brian Kernighan helped the standardize it and popularize. The book called C Programming Language by Dennis Ritchie and Brian Kernighan helped the standardize and popularize C. Clear? C was standardized by ANSI, which is American National Standards Institute in 1989, known as ANSI. Today, C is widely used in operating systems, embedded systems, compilers and application software as well. These are all the applications that we see in today's life. That is operating system, embedded system, compilers and application softwares as well. Clear? Let us understand why C is called middle level language. C is called middle level language because it supports the features of both low level language and high level language. Middle means it is not high level language, not the low level language, which is middle level language, which means it supports both the features of low level and high level. That is why it is called as middle level language. Let us understand what is low level language and high level language. Low level features of C. C provides direct access to memory using pointers. By using pointers, I can easily access the memory. And it supports the bitwise operations and hardware level programming as well, which is a part of low level language. It is fast and efficient like low level languages. It is very fast and efficient. That's why it is a low level language which supports the features of low level language. Let us understand the high level language features of C. C has structured programming concepts such as functions, loops and conditions. It has the functions, loops and conditions which supports the high level language. It is machine independent and easy to understand. It is machine independent. I can run in any machine and easy to understand, which is high level language. It supports the portability and code reusability, which is the advantage I can say. I can reuse the code and modify and reuse also. By that the time and cost is very less. It supports the portability. By using these two, it will support the high level features of C. That's why it is middle level language. Let us understand. C combines the power of low level languages with the simplicity of high level languages. That's why C is called as middle level programming language. In simple words that I can say, it supports both the features of low level and high level language. That is why it is called as middle level language. I think you understood. Let us move to the next question. Explain the features of C as structured programming language. C is called a structured programming language only because it follows a systematic and organized approach to program development. Structure means it follows the systematic and organized approach to develop a program. That is why we call it as structured programming. It helps in writing clear, readable and maintainable programs. If it is in the systematic structured way, we can write it clearly, readable, we can understand it easily by reading this, and maintainable is very easy. Clear? The main features of C program are modular programming. C program can be divided into small modules using functions, and each function performs a specific task, making the program easy to understand and manage. Here, the program, it is divided into small modules using functions, and each function performs its own specific task and making the program easy to understand and manageable. Clear? And the second one is top-down approach, which means C follows a top-down approach where the main problem is broken into smaller subproblems, where the execution of the program starts from the top to bottom. The main part of the program is at the top. That's why it is top-down approach. C follows the top-down approach where the main problem is broken into smaller sub-problems. Clear? Each subproblem is solved using functions. Use of control structure. Here, C uses a structured control statement, that is if else, switch, for, while and do while. These are all the control statements. It uses these control statements as well. And these control the flow of the execution in a logical manner. These control statements will control the flow of the execution in logical manner. I will explain you in these control statements part in detail. Block structure, which means the blocks enclosed within the curly braces, and this helps in grouping statements and improves the program clarity. By using these curly braces, it helps in grouping statements together and which improves the program clarity as well. Which part is this and which part is this, I can easily identify and understand. Reusability of code, which means functions written once can be reused multiple times. If the problem statement is similar, then I can easily reuse that part of the code. Clear? That is the reusability of code. The functions written once can be reused multiple times. This reduces the code duplication and improves the efficiency. It improves the efficiency and it reduces the cost and time as well. The code reusability. Easy debugging and testing. Structured programs are easy to test and debug because errors can be identified within specific modules. Which means in structured program I can easily identify the errors, test it and debug it because it can easily identify in which specific module it is occurred. Clear? Improved readability and maintainability. Here, clear structure and logical flow makes the C program easy to read, modify and maintain. If it is in structured manner, in systematic structure manner, I can easily understand, easy to read and understand, modify and maintain is. Everything will be easy. These are all the main features of C. And the conclusion is C supports the structured programming by allowing modular design, logical control flow, code reusability. These features make the C program reliable, efficient and easy to maintain the C program. Clear? And the next question is, why is C called programmer's language? And explain with examples why the C program is called as programmer's language. C is called as programmer's language because it gives the programmers full control over the computer's hardware and memory while still allowing the structured and flexible programming. Here it will allow the structured and flexible together. Meanwhile, it gives full control over the computer, that is hardware and memory. Because of this, the C is called as programmer's language. Let us understand the reasons why C is called as programmer's language. Direct memory access, I have explained already. C allows the use of pointers. By using pointers, I can easily access and manipulate the memory directly. Clear? And this gives the programmers fine control over the data storage and the performance as well. I can easily control over the data storage and the performance also. This is why the C is called as programmer's language. For example, using pointers to access array elements or memory location. I can easily access the array elements by using the memory location. Clear? And the next one is efficient and fast execution. C programs are compiled into machine code and execute very fast. That we know, which is very efficient and fast execution. This makes the C suitable for system level programming. For example, operating system like Unix are written in C. I have already told you that C is created to develop the Unix. Clear? And the next one is flexibility in programming. C allows the programmers to write the programs in their own logical style. We can write our own program in our own logic style. Doesn't impose strict rules like some high level language. It doesn't take any strict rules like high level language. That's why it is very flexible in programming language. For example, programmers can choose how many memory is allocated and managed. That is very flexible. Rich set of operations. C provides the arithmetic, relational, logical, bitwise and conditional operators. It provides all types of operators and these gives the programmers powerful tools to implement complex logic as well. If there any complex logic is there, they can also use the arithmetic, relational and all types of operations and execute the code easily. Clear? The rich set of operators be there in C programming. That's why it is called as programmer's language. For example, bitwise operators are used in embedded systems and device drivers. And low level and high level features. It supports the both low level and high level features. That's why it is called as middle level language. I have explained. C supports the both hardware level programming and structured programming. This dual nature benefits skilled programmers. Clear? For example, writing device drivers, which is low level, and application programs, which is high level. It supports both. That's why it is called as programmer's language. The last one is portable with control. C program can move from one system to another with minimal changes. With minimal changes only, it can easily move from one device to another device, one system to another system, and while still allowing the hardware level optimizations. Clear? It is portable. These are all the reasons why C called the programmer's language. Let us see the conclusion. C is called as programmer's language because it gives maximum freedom, that is flexibility, efficiency and control to programs. It allows the skilled programmers to write powerful, optimized and flexible programs as well. Clear? Let us move to the next question. Explain the difference between compiler and interpreter. Compiler I have already explained. It is used to check the syntax errors. And here the translation is, it translates the entire program at once. Here the interpreter means it translates line by line. It will translate only one line at a time. But here it will translate the entire program once. That is compiler. Interpreter means line by line. You have to remember this. Clear? And the next one is the program execution. After complete compilation only the program execution starts. After complete compilation, the program executes. Here, it executes each line immediately after translation only. After translation only, it will execute each line immediately. Here, the execution is very fast because it translates the entire program at once and it will execute the entire program at once after compilation. That's why the execution is very faster. Here, execution is slower because it will execute line by line immediately after the translation. That's why it is very slower. Here, error handling. It displays all the errors after compiling the whole program. After the compilation, it will display all the errors. Here, it stops at the first error and display it immediately. If it found any error, it will display that and stop the program execution. The compiler generates a separate executable file for the output. Here, it doesn't generate an executable file. The memory usage, it more memory and it requires less memory. Here, the executable runs without the compiler. The execution of the program will be without compiler only. After the execution, the compiler will occur. Here, interpreter is needed every time because it will translate each line at a time. Here, for example, for the compiler, C, C++. For interpreter, we have Python, JavaScript. Clear? These are all the languages we use in compiler, in interpreter. Clear with this? And next question is, describe the structure of C program with a neat example. The C program follows a well-defined structure. Each part has a specific role in programming execution. Let us see. Documentation section. This section contains the comments about the program, which means the comments about the program. It includes the program name, author and the purpose of that program. The comments help in understanding the program. Comment lines which we will write after the code, which will help to understand that line of code. Link section. This section includes the header files using #include. Clear? This is the link section. Header files provide the definitions of library functions. For example, standard input output.h is used for input and output functions. Standard input output.h. This is used for input and output functions. Definition section. This section defines the symbolic constants using #define. Clear? And it helps to improve the readability and easy modifications. And the next one is global declaration section. Global variables and function declarations are written in this global declaration section, and these variables can be used throughout the program. Whatever we have written here, it can be used throughout the program. The main function, the execution of the program starts from the main function. I have told you that top-down, bottom-up approach, which means from the bottom of that program, from the main function, it starts the execution. Clear? It contains declaration part and executable statements as well. Every C program must have a main function where the program execution starts from. Declaration part, variables used inside the main are declared here. And the next one is executable part. This part contains the statements that perform actual operations like input, processing and output. That is executable part. User defined function. These functions are written outside the main function and they are called from the main function whenever it is required, and they help in modular programming as well. This is all about the structure of C programming. What are the sections they have? Let us understand with a simple example of C program. Here you can see the documentation section, which means it includes comment line of the program, which is program to add 2 numbers. By that I can easily understand which program is this. Clear? This is a comment line. Documentation section, comment describing the program to add 2 numbers. Clear? This is a comment line to describe the program name, which is program to add the 2 numbers. After that, link section, #include standard input output.h. Here I have a link section. Definition section, #define max 100. Here I can see that #define max 100. The maximum number should be 100. After that, global declaration I have, that is A and B. In the global declaration section, I have declared int A and B. I will tell you int, float, everything about those also. I have taken A and B as a variables. Variables also I will explain in detail in that part. I have declared A and B here. main function, inside the main function, variable declaration, int sum. I have to take the sum of two numbers. That's why I have initialized the values. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. Here, the initialization is done. I have assigned the value 10 to A variable, 20 to B variable. Sum is equal to A plus B. After that, I'll take printf, sum is equal to percentage %d and sum, return 0. Here, it will print sum, that is 10 plus 20, 30. Clear? Let us understand the executable statements. Read the values of A and B. It will read the values of A and B, that is 10 and 20, and calculate the sum A plus B. Here the sum is equal to A plus B, that is 10 plus 20. Display the result. It will display the result. And user defined function, which is optional. Here a function to perform the addition if it is needed. Let us see the conclusion. The structure of C program ensures the clarity, modularity and easy debugging. Following this structure makes the C program easy to read, write and maintain. If you see this program, you can easily understand that this is a program to add the two numbers, that A variable, B, two variables I have declared. I have initialized the values to those variables. I have taken one more, that is sum is equal to A plus B, and I will get the result by printf. Clear? Let us move to the next question, that is explain the process of compiling, linking and executing C program. To run a C program, it passes through three main stages, that is compiling, linking and executing. Let us understand in detail. Compiling means in this stage, the C source program, that is C file, is checked by the compiler before. The compiler checks the syntax errors and grammatical mistakes in the program. If there any grammatical mistake or syntax error is there, it will check the compiler. If the errors are found, if there is any error found, and then they must be corrected before proceeding. Before proceeding to the further step, they have to correct it. And after successful compilation, the compiler generates the object code, that is .object or .o file. After the successful compilation, the compiler will generate the object code. For example, source.c compiler, it will go to compiler. After the successful compilation, it will generate the object code. And the second one is linking. In the linking stage, the linker combines the object code with the required library files. We have got the object code, right? It will combine the object code with the required library files. Whatever the required library files, it will combine with the object code, and library functions like printf and scanf are linked at this stage. The library functions means printf and scanf. Those are linked in this stage only. If linking is successful, an executable file is created. After the successful linking, executable file is created, which means the object code and library files, it will combine together and it will link with the library files. After successful linking, it will create a executable file. The third one is executing. In this stage, the executable file is loaded into memory and run. The executable file, it will load into memory and it will run that code. The program start execution from the main function, that is bottom up approach. I have explained it will start from the main function. Input is taken, processing is done, and the output is displayed. Based on the given input, it will process and generate the output, display the output. For example, here executable file is ready. It will load into the memory and execution starts. Based on the given input, it will process and generate the output. Clear? Compiling checks and converts the source code into object code. After that, linking combines the object code with the libraries to perform the executable file. I have explained here. And the executing runs the program and produces the final output. Clear with this? And the next question is, what are libraries in C? Explain library function and user defined function. The libraries in C are collections of pre-written functions. Let us see. These functions can be used to perform common tasks like input or output, mathematical operations and string handling. The functions in C, those are used in C to perform some specific task, that is input or output, mathematical operation, that is addition, deletion, anything, and string handling as well. Libraries helps the programmers avoid writing the same code again and again, which means code reusability will happen here. And libraries are included in the C program using header files with the #include directives. By using header files with the #include directive, I can easily access that libraries. For example, standard input output.h, math.h, string.h and standard library.h. Here, library functions. Those are the predefined functions provided by C libraries itself, and they are ready to use and perform the specific operations at a certain given time. The programmers only need to call these functions in their program by using these C libraries. Clear? Let us see an example. Printf, which means it displays the output. I have explained here, right? I have used the printf, it displays the output. After that I have scanf. It will read the input. Scanf to read the input, and square root. It will calculate the square root of the given number. Here string length. It finds the length of a string. These are all the examples, and the advantages of library functions are it will save the time and effort as well. By using square root, it will calculate the square root of that given number within a fraction of seconds. That's why it will save the time and effort. Reduces the program size as well. Just by giving this, I can easily find the length of the string and calculate the square root. That's why it will reduces the program size. Reliable and tested also, and easy to use. These are all the advantages of library. And this is all about the library functions. The second one is user-defined function. Let us understand that the user-defined function is the functions created by the programmer itself, and they are written to perform specific tasks that are not available as library functions, which is not available. That is created by the programmer only. That is user-defined function. The name itself says that the user-defined, the programmer-defined functions. Clear? These functions helps in modular programming. The general form of a user-defined function is function name and the given parameters and the statement inside. This is a general form of a user-defined function. Let us see an example. A function written to add two numbers. That is an example of the user-defined function. The advantages are improves the code reusability, ensures the code reusability. Again, it enables the code reusability. Simplify debugging and testing. Debugging and testing is very simple here. And support modular programming, which means it will divide it into separate modules in the functions. The difference in simple words, I'll tell that the library functions are already written and provided by C. Here, whereas the user-defined functions are written by the programmer itself, which is the user-defined functions. Clear? You got the difference between these two. Here, let us see the conclusion. Libraries in C provides the ready-made functions to perform the common tasks, and the library functions make the programming faster and easier, whereas the user-defined functions help the programmer organize and customize their programs effectively. Clear? They can customize their program. This is all about the library functions and user-defined functions. And the next question is explain C memory map and different memory segments used by C program. Here the C memory map is divided into segments. Why? Because for code, data and execution management, we are dividing the C memory map into different segments. Understanding these segments ensures the efficient memory usage and better program performance as well. Let us understand the different memory segments in detail. The first one is text segment, that is code. The purpose of this text segment is stores the program instructions, which means it will store the program instructions, and it stores the executable machine code data. The allocation time is compile time. The characteristics are it is read only, shared among the processes, it contains the compiled program code. This is all about the text segment, that is code segment. And the second one is data segment. It stores the initialized global and static variables only. And it stores the initialized global or static variables. Here also the allocation time is compile time. Values are retained throughout the program is execution. This is the characteristic of the data segment. And the BSS segment, which means block started by symbol, which is used to store the uninitialized global and static variable. Here initialized global and static variable. Here it will store the uninitialized global and static variables. Here the same, it will store the uninitialized global and static variables, which is automatically 0, which is not initialized means automatically it will take the value 0. Here the allocation time is program starting time. The characteristics are it saves the memory automatically. The global and static variables will be initialized to 0. That's why it will save the memory. And the next one is heap segment. It is used for dynamic memory allocation. Here the data allocated using malloc and calloc. It is the allocation time is runtime. The characteristics are grows upwards, and the programmer managed flexible memory allocation. These are all the characteristics about heap segment. And the last one is stack segment. It stores the function calls local variables and return addresses. Function parameters, local variables and return addresses are stored in the stack segment. Here the allocation time is runtime. LIFO, last in first out, grows downwards, automatically allocated and delocated. These are all the characteristics of stack segment. Clear? This is all about the memory segment in C, which is divided into different memory segments. And the next question is define basic data types in C, explain their size and usage. Here comes the main topic of C programming, that is data types in C. C provides basic data types to store the different kinds of data, which means I can store the different types of data. That is, for int, integer means the numbers, it stores the integers. Float means it stores the decimal numbers. Double, here it stores the decimal numbers with double precision, with extra size. character stores a single character, and again void. These are all the different data types we use in a C. And let us see the usage and everything in detail. Int, we have integer, float, double, character, and void. These are all the data types in C. And integer shows the integers, the whole numbers. The size is 2 or 4 bytes. I can store only 2 to 4 bytes in integer. Depends on the system and the memory of that data. Based on the data, it will store in that particular bytes. For example, 10 minus 25. These will be easily, I can store in integer. Float, it stores the decimal numbers, that is single precision. The size is 4 bytes. I can easily store till 4 bytes. For example, 3.14 minus 0.5. These will be easily stored in floating data type. And the third one is double. It stores the decimal numbers with double precision, which is the size is 8 bytes. Here the float is only for 4 bytes. The double is 8 bytes. For example, 3.14159 minus 0.987. These numbers I can easily store in double. And the fourth one is character. Stores a single character, which means only 1 byte. Here I can store only 1 byte. I forgot to tell you one more thing. 1 byte means here I will get 8 bits. Here 2 or 4 byte means 16 to 32 bytes. 32 bits I can easily store here. 16 to 32 bits. Likewise, 1 byte means 8 bits. Clear? For example, A, Z, anything I can store in character. The fifth one is void. It represents no value or no return type. That is 0 bytes. For example, it is used in the functions that return nothing. Void means that return nothing. Here the usage is integer is used for counting and indexing. I will use integer. Float and double. Calculations with the decimal. In that point I will use the float and double. Character. Storing characters. There I will use the character. Void. The functions with no return type. There I will use the void type. Clear with the C data types? Let us move to the next question. Explain the type modifier in C with suitable example. The type modifier in C are keywords used to modify the size and range of basic data type. Type modifier, the name itself says that these are all the data types, right? These I can modify easily. The size and range of the data types. I can modify the size and the range of the data types. They help in efficient memory usage and control over data. For example, if I want to store 3.14, which is in the form of double, I can easily store that in float, right? Got it? I have 3.14, which is the data type of double. But I can store this 3.14 in float also. That's why I can easily change the double to float and store in the float data type. Let's see how exactly it is done. The main type modifiers in C, short. It is used to reduce the size of the integer. For example, short int a is equal to 10. It will automatically reduce the size of an integer. And long, the second one is long, used to increase the size of an integer. This is used to increase the size of an integer. For example, long int b is equal to, I have taken a number. Signed, it is used to store both positive and negative values. Signed int x is equal to minus 20. Unsigned means used to store only positive values. Signed means positive and negative, both the numbers, both the values. Unsigned means only positive values. This increases the range of positive numbers. For example, unsigned int y is equal to 50. Let us see the common combinations of these type modifiers in C. Short int, long int, unsigned int, signed character, unsigned character. For example, I'll explain a small example. Signed int allows values like minus 10 and plus 10, which means it will allow the both positive and negative values. That's why I have taken minus 10 and plus 10. Unsigned int allows only positive values like 0 to large numbers. Clear? The conclusion is type modifiers help control memory size and value range of the data types, and they make C program more efficient and flexible as well. Clear? These are all the type modifiers in C, how it is helpful in the C. Let us move to the next question. What are identifiers? Explain the rules for naming identifiers in C. The identifiers are the names given to a program element in C. Let us understand. They are used to identify the variables, functions, arrays, and other user-defined items as well. For example, sum, total, marks, main, and count. These are all the identifiers that are used to identify the variables, which variable I am using, and the function, arrays, and the other user-defined items as well. The rules for naming identifiers in C. How to take the identifiers? Let us see. An identifier must start with a letter. It must start with a letter. For example, I have taken sum, total, main, and count. Here, everything is started with a letter S, T, and M, C. Clear? Or an underscore. Or an underscore. With an underscore also, it can start. Clear? It can contain the letters, digits, and underscores only. It has to contain only the letters, digits and underscores. Clear? It should not start with the digit. It can contain the digit, but it should not start with the digit. It has to start with the letters or an underscore only. The special characters like at the rate, hash, the percentage, dollar, etc. are not allowed. These special characters are not allowed in these identifiers. The keywords of C like integer, float, if, while the condition statements cannot be used as identifiers. The condition statements or data types, these are all not used as identifiers. Clear? The identifiers are case sensitive. For example, total and total are different. Here I am using small letter t. It is capital letter T. This is case sensitive. If I use the small letter and after that I am using the capital letter, it will not consider as same. These two are different. That's why it is called as case sensitive. The length of an identifier is usually limited, commonly up to 31 characters. I can use only up to 31 characters in the identifiers, not more than that. Clear? These are all the rules of naming an identifier. For example, valid identifiers are some, total, I'm using the character or I'm using a number in the starting or an underscore, and code count 1. I can use the digits as well in the middle or at the end, but not in the starting of an identifier. It must start with an letter or underscore. Clear? These are all the valid identifiers. Let us understand the invalid identifiers. One, total. It starts with a digit. That's why it is an invalid. And total marks. Here the special character is there. That is why it is also an invalid identifier. Int, it is a keyword. That's why it is also an invalid identifier. Here the identifiers helps in naming program elements clearly. Following the proper rules makes the programs readable and error free also. Clear? This is all about the identifiers. Let us move to the next question. Explain the variables and constants in C with the example. Variables. What is variable and what is constant? A variable is a named memory location. It is a named memory location which is used to show the data whose value can change during the program execution. Which means variable. Vary means change. Able, which is able to change. That is variable. Clear? It is a named memory location used to store the data, which is used to store the data. For example, I have taken count. Count is a variable. I can easily store the value 10 in that variable, which is used to store the data whose value can change during program execution. I can change the count value again and again. That's why it is called as variable. Clear with this? The variable must be declared with a data type before use. I have taken a data type that is integer. Which type of data I am storing, based on that I have to specify the data type. Clear? I have specified the integer data type based on the taken value. Clear? 10 is a digit, a number, whole number. That's why I have taken the integer data type. For example, int count is equal to 10. Here I have assigned the value 10 to the variable and I have specified the data type of that data. Clear? Here the count is the variable and its value can be changed during the execution of the program at any time. The usage is variable or used to store the input and intermediate result and output values. This is all about the variable in C in simple words. Let us see the constant in C. Constant is a fixed value whose value doesn't change during the program execution. Here the value change during the program execution. Here it cannot change. The value cannot change during the program execution. The types of constants are literal constant, symbolic and constant keyword. Literal constant means these are fixed values written directly in the program only. That is, for example, 10, 3.14 and 8. The symbolic constants are defined using hash defined directive. For example, hash defined pi, that is 3.14. This is symbolic constant. And constant keyword we have, which is used to declare the constants using the data types. By using data type, I will define the constant. For example, constant int max is equal to 100. This is constant keyword. I am using the constant keyword. Clear? Along with that, I am using the data type of that value. Clear? This is about the constant keyword. The difference in simple words in between the variable and constant, the value can change during the program execution. Constant means the value cannot change during the program execution. The variable stores changing data in a program. Constant stores the fixed values and improve the program readability and safety as well. This is all about the variables and constants in simple words. And the next question is explain the 4 types of scopes in C programming. 4 types of scopes. Scope in C defines the region of a program where a variable can be accessed or used. Which means it is a region of the program the variable can be accessed or used. The 4 types of scopes in C are local, global, block and function. These are all the 4 types of scopes in C. Local scope means the variable declared inside the function or block have a local scope. They can be used only within that function or block, which is declared inside the function or the block and which is used only within that block or function. That is local scope. For example, a variable declared inside main, which is used only inside main. Clear? And the next one is global scope. Variable declared outside all the functions have global scope, which is declared outside all the functions and that can be accessed by all the functions in the program, which is global, globally accessible, I can say. For example, a variable declared before main, that is global scope. The third one is block scope. The variables declared inside a pair of braces that have block scope, they are accessible only within that block. Clear? For example, a variable declared inside an if or loop block, which is used only within that block. The fourth one is function scope. Function names have function scope. A function name is visible throughout the program once it is declared. Once the function name is declared, it is visible throughout the program. For example, main and printf. The conclusion is scope controls the visibility of the variable and the functions, and proper use of scope avoids the name conflicts and it improves the program reliability as well. This is all about the 4 types of scopes in C programming. And the next question is explain operations in C, classify them and explain any 5 of them with the example. The operators in C symbols used to perform the operations on variables and values. The operation means it will perform a certain operation based on the variables and values given. Let us understand the classification of operators in C. These are all the types of operators in C: arithmetic operation, relational, logical, assignment, increment and decrement, bitwise, conditional and special operators. These are all the types of operators in C. Here they have asked to explain any 5. I have taken the starting 5. Arithmetic operators, which is used to perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and modulus. These are all the operations which comes under arithmetic operation. For example, a plus b, that is addition. A modulus b, that is to find the remainder. Clear? And the next one is relational operator. It is used to compare the two values, that is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, double equal to and not equal to. These are all the relational operators. A is less than b, b is greater than a, like that it is used in the code. For example, a is greater than b. It checks if a is greater than b. Clear? If it is greater than, it will return true, false, like that. Logical operator, it is used to combine the conditions. The operators are and, or and not. For example, a is greater than 10 and b is less than 5. If it is true, it will return true or false, like that. Assignment operator, it is used to assign the values to the variables, that is equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplication equal to or divide equal to. For example, I am assigning 10 to a. After that, a plus equal to 5, it is same as a is equal to a plus 5. Clear? And the next one is increment and decrement operators. It is used to increase or decrease the value by 1. For example, I will use the operator plus plus to increase the values, minus minus to decrease the values. Here a plus plus, it increases the value of a by 1. B minus minus, which decreases the b value by 1. Clear with these operators in C? The operators are essential for performing operations in C program and they help in calculation if I am doing any calculation, which is very helpful. And comparison, I will use the relational operators, and decision making, data manipulation. Operators are very helpful for these things. Clear? Let us move to the next question. Explain the expression in a C and the rule of precedence and associativity. Expression means all of you know that this is a combination of variables, constants and operators that produce the value after evaluation. Clear? A plus b, that might be a plus b, or x is equal to a into b plus c. This is also an expression. The types of expressions we have: arithmetic expression, relational, logical and assignment. The operator precedence means precedence defines the priority of the operators in an expression, which means the operators with higher precedence are evaluated first. Let us see an example. A plus b into c. Here multiplication is done first. After that, the addition takes place. Clear? First priority is for multiplication. After that, you have to go for addition. I think you also know about it very well. The operator associativity. Associativity defines the order of evaluation when 2 or more operators of the same precedence appears in an expression. It can be left to right or right to left. If I take an example, a minus b minus c. Here you can see the same operator, that is minus. I can evaluate as a minus b minus c or b minus c, a minus that value. Clear? One more example, A is equal to B is equal to C. It is evaluated as A is equal to B is equal to C or right to left. Clear? The conclusion is expressions is a combination of data and operators to produce the result. The precedence and associativity ensures the correct and predictable evaluation of expressions in C. Clear with this? If not, watch once again. Listen carefully. And the next question is explain type qualifiers in C. Discuss constant, volatile, restrict and type define with examples. Type qualifiers are keywords used to give the special meaning or restrictions to the variables. They tell the compiler how a variable should be accessed or treated, which means the constant, volatile, restrict and type def are the keywords. Those are used to give the special meaning or the restrictions to the variables. And they tell the compiler how a variable should be accessed or treated. Let us understand constant. Constant is used to declare the variable whose value cannot be changed after initialization. I have explained already about this constant. For example, const int max is equal to 100. After initialization of that value, it cannot be changed. Clear? Here max cannot be modified during program execution. It is used to protect the fixed values and improve the program safety. Clear? If I don't want to change the value, I have to use constant. And volatile. It tells the compiler that the value of the variable may change at any time. It prevents the compiler optimization on that variable. Volatile int flag. Here I am using this to change, or it can be changed at any time. It is used in hardware registers, interrupts and embedded systems as well. And the third one is restrict. It is used with the pointers. It tells the compiler that the pointer is the only reference to the memory location. I use the pointers. By using this, I can refer to memory location, exact memory location. For example, int pointer restrict p. Where we use means it improves the performance by allowing better optimization. Clear? And the next one is type def. It is used to create a new alias for an existing data type. For example, type def int number x is equal to 100, and it is used to improve the code readability and simplifies the complex declarations as well. Here, constant is the value cannot change. Once it is initialized, the value cannot be changed. Volatile means value may change unexpectedly. Restrict means it improves the pointer performance, and type def means it creates a new type name. That is type def int number I have. Again, I am creating one more name, that is number x is equal to 10. Clear? And the next question is explain the variable initialization in C. Discuss different methods of initializing variables with the examples. Here, variable initialization means assigning an initial value to a variable at the time of declaration. After declaration only I am initializing, that is initialization. Initialization helps avoid garbage values and it ensures the correct program execution. Here we have different methods of initializing methods in variable. Let us see. The first one is initialization at declaration. The variable is given a value while declaring it. While declaring only, I am initializing int a is equal to 10. This is initialization at declaration. Float x is equal to 3.5. This is the first one. Where we use this means most common and safest method. This is the most common and safest method. And the second one is initialization after declaration. Here you can see I have declared first. After that, I have initialized that variable to 20. The variable is declared first and assigned the values later. Clear? It is used when the value is known later in the program. Clear? Multiple variable initialization. Here, multiple variables are initialized at in a single statement. That is, int x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, z is equal to 3, like that. It reduces the number of lines in a code. Clear? Let's move to the next one. Initialization of global variables. Global variables are automatically initialized to 0 if not explicitly initialized. For example, int g. Value of g will be 0 by default. If I have not initialized the value, it will take 0 by default automatically. Initialization of local variables, which means local variables are not initialized automatically. They can contain the garbage values if not initialized. That is, for example, int n may contain an undefined value. It cannot take 0 by default because if it is not initialized, it can. And the last one is constant initialization. The constants must be initialized at the time of declaration only. For example, constant int max is equal to 100, which means while declaration only I am initializing the max value to 100. Clear? This is constant initialization. The variable initialization assigns the initial values to the variables. Proper initialization avoids the error sign, which improves the program reliability as well. Clear? Here completes the module 1 of programming in C. Most of you are watching and not subscribed yet. For more videos like this, subscribe to my channel ShivPrajwal and make sure you like this video and drop a comment box. If you want me to explain any particular subject or topic, comment and let me know. And if you want module 2 explanation, that is important question solved, then you can comment below, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the Module 2 video. Thank you.